This stage is for underground artists, entrepreneurs, and game changers. The people you see selling CDs out of their trunks, hawking books on the side of the freeway, sacrificing time away from their kids, dumping their savings in their tanks and hitting the road. It's for the weirdos, trendsetters, alternative thinkers redefining the field with their alternative mindsets. Mike's Uncut is a movement. It's about passion, sacrifice, believing in yourself when no one else does. Mike's Uncut is for you. We all know who we are. And now, you will too. Welcome back, Peoria. I'm your host, Ahavah Mauré, and this is Mike's Uncut. Now, we have had some awesome developments since season 1. As you can see, we're in a fabulous new location, and I think with the art history at the Carver Center, it is the perfect place for season 2 of Mike's Uncut to film. So I'd like to take a moment to extend thanks to Ken Hitton and the entire board for welcoming us on board, and also thank Valda Ship for helping with the logistics, and my awesome new team of volunteers, Miss Bree Williams and Noah Harden, who basically literally kept my head from popping off lining up these awesome guests for season 2. Now, I'm an artist, and the crux of this show will always be artistry. But as awesome as the guests were in season 1, I knew that something was missing. And our next guest embodies exactly what that is. It's true, his boxing career is in its infancy, but what is undisputed is his undefeated record, representing the cruiserweight division, 4-0, Mr. Dontez Boyd. Thank you so much. So, your story is not, the typical child prodigy. 2 years ago, you had an entirely different focus. What changed?
I think life kind of happened, and with life happened, I think I went through a lot of struggles and a lot of downfalls, and I kind of just stumbled upon wanting something different. And then I just began to look for new routes and new avenues, and actually this kind of just started out as just a hobby, just picking up something new and wanting to do something other than what I was doing, and stumbled into it and just kind of took off from there.
So the things that you were making reference to that you were doing, were those just maybe different interests that you had, or were they like non-productive, dysfunctional kind of interests?
It was more so a lot of non-productive behavior. I was going out a lot. I was partying a lot. I really didn't have a lot of direction of where I was going. I was still in school, but just the average typical college kid, not really knowing what I wanted to do and just having a lot of fun, a lot of people would call it. And I just wanted something new, something that would keep me focused, something that would keep me grounded in with a level of, on a good level of mindset, right, you could say. And this seemed like it would be something that would keep me disciplined, so.
Right. Would you say that you were angry at that time in your life? And I asked because I was going to say, do you think boxing is a good avenue for youth to utilize as an outlet?
Right. So I don't think I was really angry. I think I was just more lost, I guess. I was just, I guess I was depressed, but not really knowing I was depressed. I think a lot of people go out and kick it so much because they're looking for something, and they don't always realize that they're looking for something. And you kind of think that you find it like in the party in life, and in the, right, you think that you see your friends and it's like, oh, you find what you're looking for, that sense of joy and happiness. I think a lot of times people don't realize that they're really looking for something. And so I guess I was more lost would be the word to describe it. When I found boxing, I found that placement. I found purpose.
Okay. Purpose that came along with being good at something, feeling like passionate about something?
Yeah.
So you've only been fighting for a year and a half. This might sound odd, but did you know going in that you were that good? Like, you're undefeated right now, and yes, it's still new, but you're coming out the gate strong. Were you surprised by that?
I was a bit surprised. I thought that I would be good at it, but I didn't at all think that I would be 4-0 good, undefeated good at all. In my mind, I thought it would just be like another sport. I was always athletic, you could say. And so I thought it would just be like another sport I could pick up and, yeah.
But this was different.
This was different for sure, yeah.
So you shared with me that your family just kind of wrote it off like, okay, it's a phase, you'll get over it, you know. How has the conversation around the dinner table changed in the last 2 years? Because they fully support you.
Yeah.
Since your first fight, you said.
So it's definitely changed dramatically. I think when I first was getting into it, they were just like, oh, this is just Dontez. He's just picking up a new sport, picking up a new hobby. This is just a phase. Like, it'll go over in a matter of a couple months. Just let him lose his first fight. When he loses his first fight, he'll be straight. Like,
okay.
I mean, my brother would always say, like, I can't wait till you get knocked out. Like, then you'll wake up and, but he was just teasing me, of course.
Older brother?
Yeah, older brothers. So, and then now after I won my first fight and continue to keep winning, they are very supportive. They understand this is something I am definitely serious and passionate about, and they're 100% supportive. So
that's great. I think having support, especially in this area, would make or break you.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And so your coach, you have a very close relationship with her. Is that unusual to have a female coach?
I think it is a little unusual, and I can definitely tell the difference when I walk into certain places and they're giving me funny looks, and I'm walking in with this short little old lady, and but I like it. I think we have a great relationship. Yeah, I kind of like that underestimating factor when they first look at me. So.
Absolutely. How did you settle on her? And is it the Peoria Athletic Club? What was it about her and that club that let you know that that was where you needed to be?
Well, I think she has a very warm presence about her. It's very motherly. And me growing up in a single mother household, I immediately was able to connect with that motherly, warm kind of feeling. And right off the bat from meeting her, I knew that there was a number of different, within boxing, there was a number of different coaches I could have went under. There was an MMA coach, even at the same gym, there was an MMA coach, there was a jiu-jitsu coach, but I knew when I met Vicky that there was a definite different approach to how she valued me and talked to me even, so.
You said that's interesting that she valued you. So you don't feel like it's all about the wins to her? No,
not at all. She does so much outside of boxing that typical normal coaches just don't do it all. A lot of coaches, it's much about the record and the winning. They're all looking for their star guy that's going to take them and get them a name. It's all more about them than it even is their fighter. But she does so much out of boxing. She helped me get my first car. She helped me throughout just everything, man. If I can't even like put into words just how much she does for me, that's not even pertaining to boxing. She's amazing.
So she's certainly proud.
Oh yeah.
You've had 2 KOs. So that's amazing. Can you tell me, were they by KO or stoppage?
So they were TKO, which is technical knockout. So usually in amateur boxing, well, in professional boxing as well. So in amateur boxing, if you get knocked down 3 times, that's a technical knockout. They call the fight, and or if
regardless if the other fighter is still like cognizant and able to. Okay.
Yep. Even if the
so you
other
only get
person
3.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep. So even if the other person is conscious and fully aware, if you get knocked down 3 times, they'll call the fight. If I am overwhelming my fighter with a lot of punches and they're not throwing anything back,
that's the KO.
That's still TKO. The referee can come in and
if the referee stops it, that's the TKO.
Yeah.
That's the technical part of it. Okay.
Yeah, and I think those are there are a couple other ways that it can be technical knockout, but I'm not familiar.
That's also referred to as stoppage if they have to intervene.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yours were TKOs.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I haven't knocked anyone unconscious yet, so we'll see.
You also have been fortunate not to sustain many injuries as well. What does a typical day training look like for you?
So what we focus on, what Vicky focuses on a lot is and what happens to be my style is getting in and out.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is where I'm kind of jumping back and forth a lot. Instead of staying right there and holding my hands up, I'm more kind of jumping back and forth a lot. My hands are always up.
Okay.
And I'm always protecting myself. If I'm throwing one jab, this hand is staying up. If I'm throwing a punch, this hand is staying up. And I'm keeping an open guard at all times. My hands, a lot of boxers will have their hands like this, which is the peekaboo stance.
Okay.
And what Vicky teaches is to have your hands open. That way I'm able to counter and come over and with a counter punch, I'm able to catch and counter in that way.
I'm nodding my head like I know what you're talking about. Like I'm about to go use this right now.
Right.
So are you learning like every time you go in something new? How is this, I don't want to say a quick process, but is it becoming like second nature to you, or do you feel like I've got such a long path ahead of me?
I definitely think I got a lot to learn still. However, I do think I'm learning more and more every day as I go. Like even things that Vicky doesn't even teach, I'm like I'm getting like revelations as well. So,
what's the most important thing you would say you have learned since you started your boxing career?
Keep your hands up.
Yeah.
Keep your
That's
hands
a good
up.
one.
Yeah, you don't want to take any damage. So.
And what about the biggest sacrifice?
I think the biggest sacrifice is just all the hours that you don't get to spend with your family. And I think your actual matches and your fights, I think that's the easy part, but it's the hours leading up to those fights, the days where you're getting off work at 11 o'clock and you're, instead of going home and sleep, you're going to the gym. And waking up 5 a.m. in the morning, you're at the gym when you could be at home spending time with your family. That's for sure the biggest sacrifice.
Do you have children?
I don't, no.
Okay. So do you have a significant other in your life?
I do, and she's amazing.
Yeah. So, at every fight?
She wasn't at the first fight, I think. Maybe the first two fights. She wasn't at the first fight for sure. I think she was at work at the time. But she started coming to the fights very soon after.
So is she like boxing connoisseur all into it, right there screaming at the ropes, or is she like looking through her fingers?
She is surprising. Like she's very interested in boxing and like UFC fights. Like when I'm watching them on TV, she's very like interested in not just the fights, but like who's fighting and how the record and like it's crazy. But she doesn't fight at all her own self, so or compete. But when she came to my matches, she was nervous.
Yeah.
But I think she
that's
soon.
personal.
Yeah, right.
You know, there's
right.
always the potential for you to injure yourself.
Right. She was real nervous when she came to mine, but then I think she saw how I was handling myself and was like, "Oh, okay, well, he's all right." Like, so she got relaxed.
So I have to ask, you're a cruiserweight, 5 pounds, give or take. But you have fought in other fighters. You have fought fighters in the heavyweight division. Have you always fought cruiserweight? What are your goals as far as that concerned? Does the weight division you fight in matter to you at all?
I think at this point, I'm still just kind of filling out which weight division I would fit into best. I've always fought in cruiserweight thus far, but I fought guys who were heavier. Sometimes if they're like 203, 205, and my coach agrees to the fight, their coach agrees to the fight, then we'll still have the fight, even though I'm smaller. As far as
how big an impact is 10 pounds in this, really?
I think it can be a major impact. I think the 10 pounds that reflects on how hard the punch is coming. If they're 10 pounds heavier, then that punch is going to come 10 times harder.
Okay.
So. But at the same time, if they're 10 pounds heavier, they're probably usually slower than I am as well. So there's advantages and disadvantages.
Okay. So the current world champion for your division is Gassiev, right? Undefeated, unified. And heavyweight, you have Anthony Joshua, who is also undefeated and unified, and then Wilder. Totally different fighting styles. But impressive, obviously, holding an undefeated record. However, we haven't seen anyone reach superstar status, superstardom, since the likes of Lewis, Foreman, Tyson. What do you attribute that to? Why do you think that is? Holyfield?
I'm actually not sure about that.
Yeah.
I think the game is changing. To be honest, I just think that old school fighters and new style fighters are just not quite the same. I think the old school people were a lot more. I guess their work ethic was just a lot more different.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of like modern day fighters now, and it seems like a lot of them are throwing like one punch, one jab, where back in the day it was like war. Like from start to finish, a lot of those fights, unless somebody got knocked out, like from start to finish, it was like a battle. It was like war. They were going back and forth, tit for tat, like. And that's why I watch a lot of old school boxing, and I like those more than today. It seems like everybody, and it might be because of Floyd Mayweather. I love Floyd Mayweather, but he's a defensive fighter, and he kind of throws like one punch at a time. Does a lot of moving around, one punch at a time, one jab, one counter jab, and so I think the fighting style has just gotten different, slower. Not as intense as it used to be.
That reminds me exactly what you're saying. Reminds me of Anthony. He throws far cleaner punches than Wilder, but he's also very steady.
Right.
He seems to be more patient.
Yeah,
in
more
his
technical.
movements.
Yeah,
and does a lot of damage.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
So is that how you plan to overcome that barrier? Is your goal to reach to be an undisputed world champion?
I can't say this early. I feel like this is not something that I was like dreaming of since like a little kid and always had like this imagination of being the world champion. At this point, I just really plan to just make an influence where I am, make an impact, inspire somebody where I am, and spread the love of God, spread the love of Christ, and just do what I'm doing and see what doors open up where it takes me. I'm open for it. If someone wants to pay me millions of dollars to punch someone in the face, I'll take it. But we're just gonna see where it goes. So.
Okay. Well, there you have it, Peoria. Family man, undefeated, 4-0, Mr. Dontez Boyd. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I'm Ahavah Mauré, and this is Mike's Uncut.